You're listening to Your Purpose and Business podcast, where we connect you to possibilities. I'm your host, Raquel Walters, a two-time best-selling author, millennial speaker, corporate trainer, advocate, and clinical social worker at heart. Your Purpose and Business podcast will connect you with everyday successful people who will share their impactful stories, insights, challenges, failures, and triumphs on how they're navigating the working world, whether by climbing the 9-to-5 corporate ladder or starting, growing, and scaling their business. So grab your pen and notebook because you'll want to implement the nuggets and tools, strategies shared in every episode. Class is in session. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Your Purpose and Business podcast. I am so honored to have Joseph Mitchell on today with us on this podcast. And before I bring him in, let me tell you a little bit about Joseph Mitchell. So Joseph Mitchell Esq is a high performance business coach and EFT tapping expert and the best-selling author of The Art of Joyful Achieving, published in 2020. 2 years after he graduated from Harvard Law School, Joe became a monk and lived in an ashram for 5 years. In 1992, Joe decided to enter worldly life again, and he began a 25-year legal career as a criminal and personal injury attorney in Philadelphia. During that time, he completed hundreds of self-development courses, spiritual retreats, and health-related workshops. In addition to 4 coaching certifications, he was certified as a yoga teacher, meditation teacher, EFT practitioner, and NLP practitioner. His most important message is that you can create a life where consistent levels of high performance and success are achieved with joy, and that you can love your life even with the challenges. Joseph Mitchell Esquire, welcome to Your Purpose and Business podcast. It's a pleasure and a privilege actually to have you on here today to speak with our audience. I mean, your bio is so beautiful. It is rich. It is enriched, I should say, with so many different layers of yourself, if I should say so, right? You know, from being a monk, practicing doing that for 5 years,
Right.
to running your own criminal and personal injury law firm, practicing that for over 25 years,
Yeah.
to being a transformational coach, leader, especially in the performance industry, right, of personal development. I mean, tell us, Joe. Tell us, is there one thing that you would like us to know about yourself that's not included in your bio? And I ask every guest this.
Yeah. It's it's something that I kind of like to tell people, because it's like I'm 65.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I'm 65
Amazing.
years old. Yeah. This is what 65 looks like,
That is
everybody.
what 65 years old look like, everybody. And I know for those who are listening on iTunes or Google Play, you definitely want to go see what Joe looks like on our YouTube, on our YouTube channel. But yes, you look amazing for 65.
Yeah, thanks.
You're
And a
you're
lot of it is because I take care of myself really well. We'll talk more about that.
And we'll talk more about that because
Yeah.
that is one of the recipes into why you're looking, not only looking well and looking great, but also feeling well. And I know that that ties into the type of work that you do now as a performance and success coach, right? And so, Joe, tell us, what purpose do you think you have in this world? Because I know that you're on a podcast. It's called Your Purpose and Business Podcast, and your
Sure.
bio, as that I read before, it is very beautiful. It shows the different parts of you, like I was saying. But have you found your purpose? Is that a question I could ask you?
Sure. Well, I'm 65. If I haven't found it by now, I don't know when I'm gonna. Uh, but I would say that, my purpose is to help as many people as I can to activate their greatness.
Mhm.
I created my website's name is activateyourgreatness.com. And I created that website because I really believe that all of us have greatness in us and we can all bring it out. And it's an intentional thing though. It's something that we have to intend and that we have to work at hard. And am here to support people in being their best selves in this life.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And I love that your website is called Activate Your Greatness, because how many times that many of us at some point, or people right now, are sort of sitting, comfortable, and having dreams and hopes and desires, and being afraid to go after it, when all they need to do is activate, put into action
Yeah.
the goals that they have in mind, and really executing on them. So tell us, how were you able to uh navigate life at a young age leading up to where you are currently? Because you spoke about going into ashram, I believe you said, right, for 5 years,
Yes.
and learning how to become and being a monk. What was that like for you? And then pull us out of that, you being a monk, and then transitioning into eventually wanting to study and practicing law.
Yeah. Well, the monk came after I graduated from
Oh,
Harvard
start.
Law School. It came 2 years after I graduated, and basically, I met with some challenges, quite frankly.
Yes.
I just graduated from what some people consider the best law school in the country,
Yes.
and I had a good job, and I got fired,
Mm-hmm.
and it devastated me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh my God, you know, I'd never been fired before, and I got fired, and I just didn't. I kind of fell into a little bit of a depression. Didn't know what I was going to do, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew that the most important thing to me was my spirituality, and that's been something that's been consistent throughout my whole life. And so I just made the decision that I was going to follow my heart. Instead of following my head, I was going to follow my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to let go of everything that I was doing, and I moved into a spiritual community where I became a monk. It's in the United States, in
Yeah.
Massachusetts, and I lived for 5 years as a monk.
Mm-hmm. And what led, I mean, thank you for sharing that,
Yeah,
Joe. And, I just want to backtrack a little bit, because oftentimes in life we are faced with different challenges, different hiccups in life. And some of the time, whether that be a death, a loss of a loved one, a loss of a job, like you
yeah,
you mentioned, for you personally, issues with our health, or physical health, mental health. I mean, there's so many things that could hold us down, right?
yeah.
There's a lot of suffering in this world, especially we're going through a pandemic right now, right? Financial suffering, I should say. There are a lot of people that need money. We need money to survive, right? A lot of people don't have a roof over their heads. A lot of people have lost their loved ones, dealing with so many different issues. The point here I'm making is that, if you could look back, what were the defining moments for yourself while you were going through that, when you said you got fired, right? What led you to, to take internal stock, I'll use that word, to say, you know what, let me start relying on my faith in this moment. But even more so, what thought processes for you, if you can go back, um that
Well,
led you to go to want to become a monk in the first place? Because I think that a lot of
right.
persons listening in would also
Sure,
want to know that. Yeah.
sure. Well, I'll start when I was much younger,
Yes.
because it's an interesting story. When I was 8 years old, my parents moved from the inner city black neighborhood, okay, to a white neighborhood right outside of Boston.
Okay.
And this was like unheard of in in that area. I mean, we're talking back in the 60s, early 60s.
Early 60s. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so when we went there, we were the only black family in the whole neighborhood. I mean, like for miles around. And I was the oldest of my brothers and sisters. And so when I went to elementary school, my brother and sisters were still like not yet ready for that. So I was the first Black in my elementary school.
Yes.
And when I went there, I was pretty smart, okay? And but when I went there, what they told me was, Joe, you gotta stay back. Okay. You're supposed to be you're supposed to go into third grade, but you gotta stay back in second grade. And
Wow.
that broke my heart.
Yes.
Because I knew I was smart, and I knew that I had something going for me. And I said, hell no, I'm not gonna do it. And my parents backed me up.
Good for you. Yeah.
And it was that kind of determination that has been something that's been really strong for me in my life. And then so I said hell no, and I went into third grade right from there.
Mm-hmm.
And as it turns out, when I went to high school, I was in honors classes, and when I applied to colleges, I got into Harvard, Stanford, and Yale.
Oh my gosh, the three top law schools in
No,
the
this is undergrad. This is not law
undergrad.
school. This is
Oh,
undergrad. This is when I
okay.
was in high school. I only applied to three schools. I applied to Harvard, Yale, and Stanford. And I got into
Mm-hmm.
all three of them.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
And they wanted me to stay back.
Wow.
So it was my determination that made that difference.
Yes. Yes.
But I was raised atheist. My parents did not believe in God at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I really felt like somehow there's got to be God in this picture someplace. And I didn't really know where to find God.
Right.
So I studied, and basically, since my parents were such atheists, I ended up studying the more sort of more intellectually okay religions,
Religions.
because
Right.
because Christianity is a difficult religion for an atheist,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to believe.
Believe. Right.
Whereas with yoga, you don't have to believe, you know,
Right.
or with Buddhism, you don't really have to believe. You just have to practice.
Practice.
And
Correct.
so I was mostly into yoga and Hinduism.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just really loved it. It satisfied a part in me that had not been nourished at all through my childhood. And I started doing a lot of yoga, and I started doing a lot of meditation, and then I started to really study this stuff.
Right.
And I fell in love with it. And I just felt like I really wanted to pursue it fully in my life.
Right. Right.
This
Right.
was and this was my opportunity when I got fired. This was my opportunity to follow my heart instead of
Mhm.
following my head.
Right. Because all along in school, growing up, from second grade coming up, you knew that you were intelligent, right? You knew that, you had that gift, but it sounded like your intellect was leading you more than your heart, right?
Oh yeah, oh
You
yeah,
wanted to do
sure,
intuitively.
sure,
Is that a correct statement to say?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, and so you getting fired was sort of like a blessing in disguise, if I should say that, Joe.
Yeah, it was. It really
Hmm.
was. It really, really was. Because I
Yeah,
don't know, I don't know where I would be now if that hadn't happened.
right,
It's a
right,
very, very different person.
right. And do you remember? Because we know a lot of lawyers, and there's an underlying theme. I don't know what it is with being a lawyer. I mean, no disrespect, but for a lot of persons, there's not a lot of joy and happiness.
Right.
And I don't know. I guess the question for you is, looking back when you were practicing, do you remember feeling happy with the career path, or were you just wasn't interested anymore, and you sort of that was kind of like your gateway to say, you know what, let me start following my heart and going more into becoming and being who I truly wanted to become and be. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. And I really, when I left being a monk, I really had to. I had another, I got fired 2 times, like
Wow.
in a year, within a year, you know? And it was very hard. Again, it was very hard for me. And what I decided is like, hey, I like working for myself.
Mhm.
I don't like being fired. I don't like people telling me what to do.
Right.
I just want to work for myself.
Yes.
And so I had to really craft a way to do that that was really satisfying for me.
Yes.
And what I found was that criminal law, surprisingly, criminal law was very satisfying for me
Yes.
because I like to fight for the underdog.
Yeah.
And that's what I do in coaching. I fight for your best self. Okay. I fight against that part that's keeping you down.
Yes. Yes.
And I fight to bring you up. So that's what really like inspires me is fighting for the underdog. So that's what I did for a long, long time. But I really realized that I really want to help more people, and I really want to help people to transform themselves,
Mm-hmm.
to shift themselves fundamentally. Because I had done many, 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 many courses,
Right.
and I'm not even the same person that I was last year. Not to mention, 10 years ago. And I want that for people. I want that feeling of transformation, that feeling of I can shift, I can change, I can open, I can do what I want to do. That's
Right.
what I want to give to people.
Right, right. That's amazing, Joe. So tell me, I know you are an advocate, a huge advocate for the underdog, and you've been able to lawyer persons in the criminal justice space, personal injury space, and it speaks to did you feel at one point growing up that you were yourself an underdog? That's why you have that passion that creatively expressed itself into helping persons, in criminal, attorney, being a criminal attorney, I should say, and fighting for, them, and also fighting for the rights of persons who somehow got into an accident or was wronged, or fighting with insurances and all these things. I mean, is there a connection there?
Well, I mean, I think as Black people, we all have that connection, right?
Right, right,
We
right,
all are the underdog, right?
right.
Just by being Black, we've been put in that situation where you should stay back. You know,
Mm,
that's just their natural response, even though, I was in all honors classes and, really did brilliantly, but you're Black, so therefore you're the underdog. And yeah,
wow.
I really, I support our brothers and sisters who are struggling right now.
Hmm.
I mean, this whole Black Lives Matter thing has really brought it to the surface that, there's been some real damage to us, not just back in slavery, but it's continuing.
Right,
We got to fight. We have to fight back for that. We have to know that we're the underdog, and we have to fight to bring that equality, to bring that sense of that the wholeness, not only to ourselves but to society too.
right, right. And no, I definitely agree with that, Joe. And as you were talking, I'm here thinking about the fact that you have accomplished so much, have had honors, graduated at the top of your class, have been in the most prestigious universities in the United States, I will even say in the world,
Yeah.
and even still at some point believing that you had to fight your way, even though you have proven your worth and your worthiness being there. And um to even for me as a young millennial, hear that you've given your all, but also still have to fight, it speaks a lot of volume, especially when we speak about Black Lives Matter, and what's going on in our current society right now. And we have to fight for the underdog, and we have to make sure that even when we have made it, in open that door so that other people can come through to advocate for other people, especially in our Black communities, our minority communities. I mean, it poses the question, and I know for the audience that's listening, they're probably thinking, then I probably will never be good enough, because here I am hearing a story of an accomplished lawyer and a great human being who has
been in rooms that, many of us wish we were in, and still felt like they had to fight because they are the underdog. I mean, what has been your underlying strength, if you can identify that, to share with us what has helped you to continue on your path in this journey, to continue to be hopeful, to continue to look beyond accomplishing the dreams, the many dreams that you still have, right? What has helped you thus far? Is that question clear? What have you leaned on? What has given you strength and support so far?
Well, I mean, yeah, I have to tell you, Raquel, I've been really lucky. I mean,
Yeah.
to go to the best schools in the country, to be, I've never had real financial issues. It's
Yes.
just, I feel very, very fortunate. Um, so, and not all my brothers and sisters are as fortunate as I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel for them. I mean, obviously we all have issues, we all have problems, and I'm not the exception to the rule. i'm
Right.
i'm a human being just like everybody else. um, but I think that I have had a really graced life. I mean, I've had a lot of really great things happen to me, and I'm really, really grateful for where I am now and where I'm going even. I mean,
Right.
at 65, I'm not slowing down, I'm speeding up.
Mm-hmm. You're speeding up. Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any tools that you can share with us that has helped you even on challenging days, or
Yeah.
even just the day to day to sustain yourself, that you want
Yeah.
to dive to teach us and to share with us,
Yeah.
that we can apply in our day to day lives? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and this is something that I really like. I'm excited to share with you guys
Yes.
because it's really amazing, and it's really about consistency.
Woo, that's a big word, Joe. Consistency. Yes.
Consistency really makes life a lot easier.
Wow.
Okay, so the place where I first learned that was in my meditation practice,
Mm-hmm.
and I just decided that I'm going to be an early riser and
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to miss a meditation.
Wow.
And in the last 30 years, I have meditated day, every day.
Talk about commitment,
Okay.
consistency.
But I
Right.
just got to tell you, it's not hard. It's like I look forward to it.
Yes.
I look forward to it. But the thing that's been pretty amazing has been something else, which has really kind of blown my mind, which
Mm-hmm.
is I've been involved in a group that does marketing, and they said, well, what you need to do is you need to do Facebook Lives, you
Yeah.
know. And I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna start doing Facebook Lives. And I made a commitment that I was gonna do a Facebook Live every single day.
Yes.
Okay. And I got to tell you, what ended up happening is I just decided after a while, I decided, well, I'm only going to do them Monday through Friday. I'm not going to do them on the weekends. So I took the
Yes.
weekends off. But
Yes.
every single day at the same time, 7 p.m., I do a Facebook Live. I might not continue it forever, but what I've learned is it's so much easier to do that because a lot of people sometimes have trouble, like, doing Facebook Lives or being consistent like that. But when you make a commitment and you put it out there,
Mm-hmm.
it's really much easier than, like, let's say, well, I'm going to do 2 Facebook Lives a week, or I'm going to do 2 videos a week. That's a lot harder than just committing. I'm going to do a Facebook Live every single day,
Right.
and
Right.
and just and make that a priority.
So you hold
You
yourself
know,
accountable to what you say you're going to do.
it's
Right.
yeah, but it's not. But the thing about it is, it's not that hard. If
Mm-hmm.
you make the determination and you just say, I am going to be consistent. I'm
Right.
just I'm just going to do this.
Right, right. So apart from meditation, which is amazing, for 30 years, every single day,
Yeah,
I meditate too, but I don't do it every day.
yeah.
But I definitely need to, and I see the value in meditation. What other tools or techniques has helped you to sustain the challenges of life and business thus far?
Right. Well, one of the things that's really important is what I call the fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, it's almost undisputable that everyone needs proper sleep,
Yes.
needs proper food, and needs proper exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are missing any of those three components, there's going to be problems.
Mm-hmm.
And if you excel at those three, you're going to have exuberant energy. And so, so I really look after my sleep. I really look after what I eat,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of exercise. I'm not a big exercise guy now. I used to be an athlete. I
Yes.
used to be a very good tennis player.
Okay.
For a very long time, I played, like very high level. I was never a pro.
Yes.
Actually, I taught tennis as a pro, and
Yes.
then I played in college. I was a very good player. But right now, I don't play anymore because of the COVID stuff. I just don't want to be
Right.
involved in all that.
Yes.
And I also I'm also an old head, so I got injured, and just in playing, tennis is it's a tough sport. It's not an easy sport
Mm-hmm.
if you want to really play it at a high level.
Yeah.
But exercising, it's important at least to stretch and to just do some basic exercise.
Yes.
And if you do those things, it makes such a difference in your ability to get things done. One of the things that I love is I love napping. I take naps every day.
Yes.
I'll take a
How
nap
about
in the
how
morning.
long? How long?
Well, on a good day, if I have the time, I like to take 20 minutes. But
Okay.
sometimes I take 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes is not unusual.
Yes.
And it makes such a difference. I get up after a nap, and I am so energized. I'm like, yeah. Now I'm not talking about sleeping and all that stuff. I mean, I'm just laying down, relaxing, just
Back in your mind.
really letting go and letting myself be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
What a difference that makes.
Yes. Yes.
And then
Amazing.
of course, and then the other thing is, which I kind of downplay, but it's obvious because I do it every day, which is meditate. You
Yes.
know, so it's kind of like that is a big part of my vitality and my health and my wellness, is that I get quiet every day, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
still, and I'm connecting with a higher power every day. It
Mm-hmm.
makes a big difference.
Wow, wow, amazing. Because it just shows the contrast from what you spoke about earlier about, you grew up as an atheist, and then, connecting to a practice, whether that was through Buddhism, yoga, and how you have incorporated meditation,
Yeah.
eating well, sleeping properly, exercising, and all these things to be able to sustain yourself now, even at the age of 65, and of course beyond this. But the contrast between you're saying that you didn't even know what your life would have looked like if you years ago, if you were still within, I guess practicing or working in that job, the first job that unfortunately fired you. But
Right.
now looking at your life now, how vibrant and colorful it is, and it's like you have a meaning and a zest and a purpose for your life now, helping other persons too to transform themselves. It's just beautiful. It's sort of like that that story of you turning into like the worm turning into the butterfly, if I should use that as an example,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
It's really beautiful, but I want you to speak to activating your greatness, your company,
Sure.
and how you have helped your clients to transition, to go through that transition of being in a rut of whatever form that rut
Right.
takes or look like, right? And rising up through that, in order to be their best selves and to live out their best lives. So tell us how it is that you help your clients in your business.
Okay, sure. Well, my business is focused right now on a specific clientele,
Mm-hmm.
and that is self-employed business owners, or what I call solopreneurs,
Solopreneurs, okay.
or people who are working a day job that they don't like, and they want to be self-employed. They want to work for themselves. Because
Yes,
I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of us in this world
yes,
that don't want to be ordered, bossed around, that want to have freedom, that freedom and independence is so important to them.
Right.
you know, and or if you go into a job as a self-employed, whatever, lawyer, coach, uh, blogger, whatever. Okay, you have got to master being an entrepreneur. And here's the funny thing that most people really miss. Okay, I mean, I guess some people know it, but a lot of people miss this. 80% of being successful is mental.
Yes.
And when I you see I'm pointing two places, because
Yes.
mental is just not here,
Here. Mm-hmm.
it's also here.
Right.
Okay.
So it's in your head, but
It's
also
all you call it the
heart.
mindset
Yes.
and the heart set.
Mindset and
Okay.
heart set. I love that. Yes.
Yeah. It's the two of them. Okay. But basically, people are stuck. If you want, I mean, most entrepreneurs fail. You probably know that, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
most entrepreneurs fail, and usually fairly quickly in the first year or two.
Yes.
Okay, and it's all
Mental, you're right. Mindset and
heart set.
heart set, or your heart set.
Yep.
Right. Right. Right.
The emotions, and the thoughts.
And the thoughts, right? And it also shows the ones who are able to be resilient, or at first pivot from that failure, learn from that failure, try again.
Yes,
From the ones who give up after the first try.
yes.
Right, right.
But what makes my approach different is, comes from my book. It's called The Art of Joyful Achievement.
Okay.
Okay, and that word joyful is in there for a reason,
Yes.
because most of our culture thinks success is about hustle and grind,
Preach, Joe. Preach, preach, preach. Yes.
but it doesn't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that you don't have to push outside your comfort zone. Okay, that's not saying that. But what if you could push outside your comfort zone and have fun doing it, or
Right.
enjoy doing it? That would be amazing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what I believe is possible if you determine that that's part of the goal,
Right, right.
right?
Right. Joe, how do people get to that? Because, some of the audience are like, oh yeah, I get it. That it's about mindset and heart set, and I need, it's more mental than physical, right? But how do I get myself to even start thinking that of the possibilities? Because you know what, I just can't see myself. I'm working a job right now that I just don't love. I go there just for the to pay my bills, to keep a roof
Yep.
over,
Sure.
my family's head, all of
Sure.
these things, to put food on the table. But what are the first steps that I could take to help better myself? Because I know I don't want to be here for long in this job, but I just don't know where to look first. I don't know who to ask for help. I don't know even the first steps. I might have dreams, but I don't even think they could be realized. I mean, what would you say to that person who's thinking that way? What are some of the first steps that could probably help support them into thinking and believing that they can do this?
Yeah. Well, in my book, I talk about what I call the daring success system.
The
And
daring
that's
success.
the daring success system. You got to be daring. If you want to succeed on a big time level with joy, without the stress,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be daring. But each letter of the word daring stands for something.
Yes.
And the first thing that it stands for, the very first thing, is decide. So it's decide what you want. And I really believe that people should think big.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like to think of big, juicy goals, or what I call wow goals, goals that when you think about them, you say, wow,
Right.
that would be amazing, you know? And you create those goals, and then you create a powerful why.
Yes.
That's the first step, is to get clear on what you want and why you want it.
Mm-hmm.
But not just like what you want because that's what other people say, but what you really want.
Right.
Even if it feels like right now, oh, I can't get there. I can't do that, because you can if you have a strong enough why, and you become unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I am committed to doing, is helping people to create unstoppable confidence in themselves. And
Wow, I love it.
the way that I do that is, I have a number of tools, but my one of my very favorite tools is a tool called tapping. And
Mm-hmm.
tapping is basically, it's acupuncture for the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much you know about acupuncture, but there are certain meridians in your
Yes,
body, and you
yes,
put needles, they put needles there, and it relieves pain. It relieves stress. You might have been hunched over all the time, and you put those needles in, and suddenly you feel better. Well, this tapping is like that for the emotions.
mm-hmm.
And you tap on those meridian points, basically on your face and on your upper body,
Yes,
and it releases limiting beliefs. It releases trauma, because a lot of us are suffering from trauma.
right, right,
It releases a lot of the things that keep us from being at our best, from being our best selves.
right.
And so that's part of what I teach in my Daring Success system, is how to use tapping to get rid of what I call the three blocks, the three biggest limiters to your success. And those are toleration, tolerating stuff in your life; procrastinating,
Mm-hmm.
putting stuff off; and lacking confidence.
Right.
You
Love
stop
it.
tolerating and start really living up to where you really want to be, and you stop procrastinating and stop putting things off and going for it with courage, and then you build up your confidence to the point where you're unstoppable, you are going to achieve anything you want.
Yes, I agree, and I love your their in success system. I mean, you know, for persons who want to learn more about what you do and how you use your system to help your clients, share with us a little bit of how we can connect with you.
Okay,
If you have any upcoming programs, courses, please definitely share with us,
right.
Joe.
Well, if you are a solopreneur, self-employed business owner, or wannabe, okay, what I'd like you to do is to have a free strategy session with me, because I want to help you to take your game to the next level. And you can reach me very simple, Coach Joe at activateyourgreatness.com. Just email me, say, hey, I want a strategy session, and I'm on it. You can also find me on Facebook or YouTube, or LinkedIn. I mean, I'm on social media. But if you and my last name's Mitchell, but if you go Coach Joe at activateyourgreatness.com, I will get back to you, and I'll send you my calendar, and we can set up a strategy session where we can talk about what your goals are, what's stopping you from getting there, and how I could help you to get there much faster.
Yes, that's
Secondly,
amazing. Mm-hmm.
if you go to activateyourgreatness.com, whether you're a solopreneur or not, if you go to activateyourgreatness.com, I'm giving away 2 free chapters of my book, and a number of bonuses, a worksheet that goes with it, a couple of videos, some stuff that's really it's useful. So if you just go to activateyourgreatness.com, and you'll see where you can get the free stuff right there. It'll be very obvious.
That's amazing, and
Yeah.
no, I can't wait to read your book. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet, but I can't wait to dive deep into it. So, definitely you wanna go to activateyourgreatness.com and be able to connect with the Coach Joe over there to help you to transform your life, whether it is that you're a self-employed business owner or you're aspiring to become a business owner. He definitely have the tools to help you to live more purposefully and on target to realizing your dreams and your goals.
Yeah,
So Joe, again, it's been a pleasure to have you
sure.
on here. Before I let you go, I definitely want to ask one other question. As far as what do you do for yourself on the day to day? I know you spoke about meditation,
Yeah,
but is there any sort of affirmations or statements that help to support you too, in combination with what you're already doing,
I'm glad
to
I'm
sustain
so
your.
yeah, I'm so glad you asked that because one of the things
Yes.
that I've learned over time is that it's really important to remember your intention over time.
Wow.
So, so what I do is I like will write, I will write on a piece of paper, what is my desired outcome? Okay. I put it on my desk. I put it in the bathroom.
Yes.
I put it in my bedroom because I work from home. So I
Yes.
put it in my bedroom. I put it in my bathroom. I put it every place where I can put it in the kitchen. I can see it every place. What is my desired outcome? And when I see that, I say the word target.
Hmm.
What is your target, Joe? What is your target right now? What is your target? So I continually focus myself on what I want. Okay. And that's an amazing process because we so often we just go off into, so to bring yourself back again and again and again, but not like, like you have to do something or, but you just gently remind yourself of what your target is, you know?
Yes, I love that, Joe. What is my
Yeah,
desired outcome? For me, when you explain it to me, it when I read it and hearing you, it keeps you focused. Because for me, I definitely gonna adapt that, because for me, it will keep me focused on the task at hand. I know you mentioned target. What's the target? So if you're continuously seeing that, it will continue remind you that what is it that I'm supposed to be doing in this moment to keep me on
yeah,
target. So thank you for sharing
yeah,
that with us. I love that. I believe it's so powerful, and
yeah,
I definitely will be adopting that and implementing it in my life. So
great.
again,
I love it.
yeah, that was just beautiful. So
I
again,
just want to tell you though, the
yeah,
last thing is I just want to tell you, tapping, you got to check it out. It is so powerful. It really, people think, well, what is this tapping thing where you're
mhm,
tapping like this? But I'm telling you, it changes lives in miraculous ways.
yes,
That's all I can say. You've
yeah,
got to check it out.
awesome.
I have some materials on my website. You can just go to YouTube and just type in tapping and you'll just see like thousands of videos.
No, that's awesome. And if you wanted because I know you teach that too, EFT, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, as a matter of fact, we have recently formed a group. We call it Black Tappers United.
Oh, love it.
And so we're really wanting to bring tapping into the Black community. We really
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
that's important. That's an important thing
Yeah.
because when we see a black face doing something, it's very different than if we see, the white man doing it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, and tapping is so important. I mean, I used to practice. I haven't been consistent, so that's something else that you're inspired me on this podcast to go, go back into my toolkit and relearn how to do it.
Great.
But all of these things are helpful because emotional well-being and practicing emotional intelligence and just being healthy in our mental health, right? That makes sense. Is important, especially to sustain ourselves on a day to day and to keep us on track on our goals. And I love that you've shared so many beautiful tools that we all can implement in our day to day lives, and how it is that you can help us to bring that out to help us to live and be the best versions of ourselves, right? And again, Joe, thank you so much for being on here. It was a
Totally my pleasure.
pleasure. And definitely, guys, you want to make sure to share this episode with all your family members and friends, with everybody that you think that would benefit from this, because Joseph Mitchell has definitely dropped a lot of gems, useful, valuable gems that you can implement today in your lives. And definitely, guys, reach out to him over at activateyourgreatness.com and get on his calendar. It's free, his strategy session. So I definitely know that he is helpful in this space, and you definitely want to connect with him. So with that, Joe, thank you again. And for all our audience or listeners, remember, be good to yourself, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Have a great day, evening, whatever time it is for you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you've loved this episode, let's stay in touch. Head over to raquelwalters.com and subscribe to my email list so that I can send you updates on new episodes, exclusive motivational nuggets, and insider knowledge that's only shared when you join our community. Please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and leave a review, as I want to know your thoughts about every episode. Follow me on Instagram at Your Purpose and Business Podcast. And remember, your life is beautiful, and this is a part of your journey. So embrace it. Speak to you soon.